Hey everybody, it's Comodex and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing my final sealed deck of Baldur's Gate. This is going to be practice for the Arena Open this Saturday. Day 1 is Baldur's Gate Sealed. Day 2 is Baldur's Gate Traditional Draft. 2 out of 3 draft there. So one final sealed deck here. Get some more practice in with this format as I have been playing a bunch of Innistrad lately. Gotta make sure I get some experience in the format of the competitive Arena Open this weekend. And we could play a pretty silly, kind of dumb sealed deck today, because we've opened up 2 Blood Money, a 7 mana Wrath of God. This destroys all creatures, and for each non-token creature destroyed this way, you get a tapped treasure. We also have Stick Together, so we have 3 different board wipes in black-white, as well as Asterion the Decadent, a big old Death Touch lifelinker that can maybe drain some extra life from your opponent or gain some extra life. Really slow, really expensive card here, but it can lead to some swingy games. We've got Wilson, probably our strongest rare just because of how aggressively costed it is. It's a really cheap little bear there that gets in with a bunch of good effects and specializes into another just cheap aggressive card. And then Illithid Harvester is also quite good. An adventure to tap a bunch of creatures down and keep them tapped for a turn. And then the Enter the Battlefield effect is going to make all the tapped creatures face down 2/2s forever instead of what they used to be. So really interesting sealed pool here. See if we can do some kind of weird control deck. It's not often you open up 3 board wipes in a sealed pool, so that does leave us open to some really interesting potential builds here. And it looks like our black cards are good. We have double Black Dragon, so we can just plan on board wiping a lot and then playing some really big end game cards like Black Dragon. Got Vampire Spawn to keep us alive, Sewer Plague for cheap removal, and in white we've just got a lot of cheap creatures, well, a few cheap creatures to keep us in the game. Steadfast Unicorn, Soldiers of the Watch to get a lot of creatures out cheap, make us look like we're trying to be the aggro deck, get our opponent to dump their hand on the board, and then just use one of our 3 board wipes to try to take the game over. White, black, board wipes deck looks like a thing we can absolutely do here. Take a look at our multicolored cards and our colorless though. We do have a Meteor Golem, which will be nice if we're playing a slower deck, which we probably will with board wipes. We've got Minthara of the Absolute, who works very well with a deck with a lot of creatures or a lot of treasure tokens, stuff like that. So that could be pretty good for our white-black deck. And of course, Asterion. We've got the blue-black uncommon Krydle that can help things get in. Unblockable and OG in blue-white that can flicker cards. Those are interesting, but I don't think necessary. And then Corlessa for green-blue. Green does look solidly strong. We have an Owlbear, a Herdgorger, and an Emerald Dragon to ramp into, as well as the Druid of the Emerald Grove to help do that. But we don't have any removal in green and not a lot of cheap creatures, just Wilson. When we look at red, we do have Null Hunting Party, Earth Cult Elemental at the top end of that curve, as well as a Dragon's Fire and Mephit's Enthusiasm for cheap burn. We've got some good double teamers with 2 giant fire beetles and a Hobgoblin Captain for an early aggressive creature. Red does look good. Nothing massively drawing us into the color outside of the great removal. Black, of course, is the double Blood Money deck. That is a pretty slow removal spell. I don't think I'd play it in draft, but in sealed, we can definitely build around it. When we've got enough of them to just know we're going to have a Wrath effect every game. Triple Horde Robber is perfect too. It's going to get us a bunch of treasures in the early game to help us make it up to those big costs. And Triple Horde Robber could also help us splash in maybe some of that red removal, maybe an Illithid Harvester's Adventure, maybe something like that. So let's put in the core of the deck. Let's put in our best white and black cards first and foremost, and then see where we want to go from there. Mind Spike isn't horrible, is it? It's duress, but if you don't hit, if you fail to find off of the duress, you get to draw a card. You do lose 2 life no matter how you play this, though. I don't know about Mind Spike here. It seems okay, though. I don't think Chain Devil is going to be a good one for this deck. I don't think we're going to have enough creatures. Probably going to try to run a little bit of a lower creature count than you would normally, just to really help lean into our Wrath effects. Make sure our opponent is getting hit harder by it than we are. So how much treasure production do we have here? This is already a full deck, just in black and white. Although the curve is high, devoted paladins are pretty awkward in this deck because our creature count is lower. So we probably don't want 3 of these. We'll cut some paladins, maybe a beholder or a Pegasus Guardian. Some of these slower late game creatures that aren't as impactful as Black Dragon is. So I guess Icewind Stalwart also doesn't do anything in this deck. It can flicker a vampire spawn and get that enter the battlefield effect again, but that's it. So that's another card we could cut. But yeah, how much treasure production do we have? We have double blood money, of course, for very late game treasure production. But then we have 3 horde robbers and deadly disputes. If we have a single prophetic prism or pilgrim's eye, we could pretty easily get that red splash in, but we don't have either of those. We have a meteor golem I want to play. Navigation orb is really slow mana fixing. Oh, a stick together double blood money, that might be okay. Probably not, though. It's generally way too slow and mana intensive. Oh, I forgot to put Minthara in as well. And Asterion. Honestly, we have a lot of gas and a lot of options in our main 2 colors already, as well as double Minimus Containment and Sewer Plague for removal. I don't feel like we need to go splashing around for other removal. And our strongest off-color cards aren't even like bombs, outside of Illithid Harvester. They're mainly removal spells. Or early game creatures, and you definitely don't want to splash for early game creatures. Splashing for removal spells is fine because they have impact later in the game, but splashing for cards like Hobgoblin Captain and Giant Fire Beetles is generally not worth it because these cards are way better on turn 3 than turn 7, and when they're your least represented color, they're the color you're most likely to get stuck on. You're most likely to have to wait until later turns to cast them. So I don't really think we need to do any splashing here. We could, though. Don't have anything worth bouncing with OG, so we don't really want to splash a flicker kind of deck. Not really. I guess Krydle with the triple horde robber is okay. We could splash a little blue, play a Krydle, and play this Illithid Harvester. That may be the best way to really use our treasure tokens. Other than that, we're kind of just using them with Minthara and using them to ramp up into our blood monies and meteor golems and stuff. That honestly standalone seems like a good enough reason to be using these treasure tokens, or a good enough way that I generally don't think we need to splash into another color here. I think we can play this weird little black-white Wrath Effect deck with a low creature count. We drop triple Paladin, we drop the Icewind Stalwart and the Baleful Beholder, I guess. And then call it a deck. Got the 1 flicker effect against removal, the Rescue the Foal here to play around with. Yeah. Started building this deck, wanting some really serious practice for the Arena Open, and now I just double blood money stick together. Just all wraths all day. Now we're just being a dork about it. That's fine by me. Yeah, looks like a pretty fun deck, and I think this is going to be the deck list. Alright, here we are with the final sealed deck for Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate. This is a pretty silly one. We have 3 Wrath effects in the deck, double blood money and stick together. We have a lot of horde robbers in here to try to get the treasures to get those wraths out a little cheaper if we need them against the highly aggressive decks. We've got a little bit of straight up removal, double Minimus Containment, and a Sewer Plague. So we're just playing some kind of mediocre creatures in the middle here, but we're planning to just try to get a 2, 3, 4 for 1 off of a nice big Wrath effect, and then take over the game with one of our big drops afterwards. We just Wrath the board, and then drop an Asterion on an empty board, or Wrath the board, drop a Black Dragon when they try to get something back on the board, or drop a Meteor Golem after they try to get another creature on the board. Pretty silly deck here. Not often you get to play with 3 Wraths, and I'm pretty excited to do so. So without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play. Mono black hand, but Horde Robber could fix that if our opponent doesn't have an early game card. We do just need to hit a single planes to be able to cast everything in the hand, so I am going to keep it moderately risky here, because Horde Robber might not be able to get in, and then we'll have to rely on drawing the planes. But we have 2 different outs to this game. We could draw a planes, which is pretty likely they're half of our lands in the deck, and or we could just hit once with a Horde Robber and be able to cast at least one of these. So I feel like the fact that there's 2 different ways out of this mana situation makes the hand not the riskiest keep ever, and we do immediately hit the plains. Tempted to drop Soldiers of the Watch here to get that immediate double team value, but do also like getting immediate treasure value. I'm going to try to get Horde Robber in instead. Start stacking up treasure tokens if we can. Sepulchre Ghoul. Alright, well, Soldiers of the Watch would have been the better first play, it looks like. Still attempt to get in. Threaten a combat trick here, like a Valiant Farewell for +2/+0 and draw a card. Our opponent might see through the bluff here. They might be like, yeah, you don't have a Valiant Farewell. You're going to think long and hard about it, though. Probably just drop Lulu post-combat, and then we can play a flying Soldiers of the Watch, and that'll make sure we still get our double team value. I think that's what the curve looks like. I guess if we get that treasure, we could play Steadfast Unicorn and Lulu. If we want to do that. Okay, no treasure for us. Lulu it is. Now we get to cast a Soldiers of the Watch with flying off of this boon next turn. Black and red from our opponent. They can definitely have the Artful Provocation or whatever. 4 mana to steal one of our creatures for a turn, and then they can just sacrifice it. I'm really not that worried about Lulu dying here. Lulu's not the scariest specialized card ever. She just becomes a 2/4 flyer instead of a 1/3 flyer. Not the biggest buff in the world. I wouldn't mind trading her off for a trick of some kind early game. Oh, and that works really well for us. That's a 2-for-1. They lose their Sepulchre Ghoul and their Breath Weapon to kill our 1 Lulu. Very fine with that. We've got a Minthara coming down. That's going to be incredible with the treasure tokens we can get off of Horde Robber. So I'm actually going to be a little weird here and just play a Flying Minthara instead of a Soldiers of the Watch. And immediately pop this treasure so that we can get the intensity up. Get the beautiful animation. She looks very angry. I love the intensity animation on Arena. But yeah, now we're not playing a Flying Soldiers of the Watch anymore. Kobold Warcaller from our opponent, being able to give creatures in their hand haste by tapping. And that is it for now. Looks distinctly possible we get to get a treasure token here and drop a Pegasus Guardian. Attack in. We have Unicorn's ability up if we need to give our board +1/+1. But if we don't, we'll dump all our mana into a big old Pegasus Guardian here. And that will up Minthara's intensity again. And give us a 1/1 Pegasus, because a treasure will have left our battlefield this turn. Kind of a double synergy there here. Really nice turn. Yeah, opponent's just gonna scoop them up. The treasure tokens are just so good with Minthara and Pegasus Guardian, and we got both of those in our hand that game. It's gonna be 1-0, and we didn't even get to use one of our namesake Wraths. Alright, we are on the play here in the next game. Awkwardly high-costed hand here, but we do have 3 mana as well as both colors. We have a Lulu on 3. I am gonna keep this. Minthara on 4 if we hit a land by turn 4. Monk of the Open Hand is the first play from our opponents. White and green from them. Hit us for 1, we're down to 19. We are hitting the lands we need, which is great. And we're going to get our turn 4 Flying Minthara back at it again. See what she can do for us. Underseller Myconid from our opponent. They are definitely ramping up. Tapping for mana of any color with that. Here is a Flying Minthara. We'll poke for 1 here. Do have our Horde Robber here. A little later than preferred. It's pretty much never going to touch our opponent this game. Could even just flip Lulu to black in that case. Have our opponent lose a life and us gain a life every time. It's actually kind of fine by me. Should be out racing on board until they play something better here. And we're only 2 mana away from casting Black Dragons to retake control of this game if they do turn it in their favor. Which Owlbear's a good start to that, and that's a big old threat. And that's going to make sure our Soldiers of the Watch really can't get in. So we'll just use this to trade off with Flaming Fist Officer if they attack in with that. Looks like they are not going to. We do draw into a Sewer Plague to deal with their Owlbear. Pretty into that. Actually like attacking everybody now that we have a Sewer Plague. Just play our duplicate Soldiers of the Watch, and we're upping our intensity with Minthara this way. Yes, they are getting a counter on Officer, but we're getting an intensity counter on Minthara, so it's a good trade for us. And this Soldiers is a 3-1 until Minthara is gone now, which means it can still actually trade with the Flaming Fist Officer if they don't kill our Minthara. And they don't kill Minthara, just play a couple creatures here, which does get a counter on their Monk of the Open Hand, but doesn't really give them any attacks on the ground, and we're still just jamming in this guy. We're very close to lethal here. They're down to 2, and we have a Minimus Containment as a backup in hand. Not currently anything I want to kill on board. Flaming Fist Officer's getting close, but that's still manageable with our Soldiers of the Watch. They'll need to get rid of both of our flyers, or play 2 reach creatures, or a combination of the 2, play a reach creature and kill a flyer. They'll play a Jade Orb of Dragonkind. And they'll Dread Linornum up their Underseller Myconid, but that is no flyers. That is going to be lethal on board for us next turn. And Lulu takes it again, specifically Lulu Vengeful Hollyphant. Must be afraid of that vengeful elephant angel. Here we are now, round 3. We have our 100% win rate so far, Lulu in hand. Can't mulligan that. We also have a Wrath. Stick together. And blow up everything except for creatures in a party. So everything except for a Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, and Wizard. A Soldier is none of those card types. But neither is an Elephant Angel. I think I just play a Vampire Spawn to slow our opponent down, drain some life, and not commit too many good cards to this board. If we can hold off on Lulu until after the Wrath, that would be beautiful. Could have also just Sewer Plagued Soldiers of the Watch. That would absolutely be the play if I didn't have a Wrath in hand. But since I do, I'm okay with our opponents getting some more creatures here to dump out. Looks like we are going to get them to use a combat trick this turn. Pass turn, hold up Sewer Plague, and stick together, keep Lulu for post-Wrath. You just play a Soldiers of the Watch, and that's it. A little awkward. We can play a Horde Robber, and that holds that off, and it doesn't commit too much to our board. Pre-Wrath. Oh, and it's a rogue, so it survives our Wrath. It survives Stick Together. That's actually beautiful. That is perfect. Lysel, Githyanki, whatever, it's a warrior. It's a warrior. Alright. One of the strongest rares in the set, because even if we target it with a removal spell, it will survive, because it can flicker itself the first time it gets targeted. So we're going to have to use Sewer Plague and Eyes of the Beholder to kill that. And of course, that one is a warrior. That one is part of the party, so it doesn't die to our Stick Together. That's a big old problem. We're gonna have to just straight up spend 2 separate removal spells on that. I am sure they're gonna immediately specialize to red to get some soldier tokens, make her an even bigger threat. Is she still a warrior? Yes, she is. Yeah, 3/6 double strike. Sewer Plaguer. They are going to flicker her, which means we do get to cast Eyes of the Beholder on her next turn. I'm tempted to cast Lulu here, so we can block more of these 1/1s and not take 1,000,000 damage, but Lulu will die to the Wrath. I'm sorry, Lulu. We're going to throw you under the bus here to survive a bit. Probably chump block Lysel with Lulu, and have Horde Robber block something where it would survive. At least we still get Lulu's boon post-Wrath. Giving our next creature flying. If they just attack all here, we might just be taking 6, actually. Just gonna have Lulu block soldiers and Horde Robber block a 1/1. Devoted Paladin. Oh my god, that is bad. Oh, Lysel. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet. I know she's one of the companions in Baldur's Gate 3, but I've been planning on playing it whenever it exits early access. And I'm so sorry, Lysel, but I don't care how good your character is in that game, I'm going to immediately despise that character just because of how good she is in this limited format. Sorry, Lysel. No second Devoted Paladin. I don't think we're immediately dead if they have one. Actually, yeah, we are. We die to a second Devoted Paladin. Or you hear something on watch. We take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's not lethal. Uh-oh. Ferida's Fireball is maybe lethal. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We go to 1. 1 is not 0. Get all that out of here, please. Please don't have more gas. They have more gas and it's haste. Well, that'll do it. Pretty much Lysel's game there. Lysel just hitting us for 1,000,000. Spitting out a ton of soldiers. Unfortunate. Bombed out pretty hard as we head into round 4. Round 4 now, we've got Horde Robber to try to get treasures. Even if we don't get the treasures, we can wait a little while to hit the white source. I think I'm going to probably keep this bold keep again. We have 8 planes in the deck. Need double white to get to the Stick Together. Just 1 white source to Minimus Containment and Hippogriff to survive. And there is the white source. Never didn't have it. Perfect draws so far. Double red is going to start it off from our opponent. We'll see if Horde Robber can get some action here. Get some treasure tokens for us. 3rd red source, and now we have 2 Wrath effects in our hand. That's what the deck is all about. We are just jamming. And I'm going to just pop down this Hippogriff. We can attack both. And we're attacking into the sky and getting more treasures as things progress. Kind of do our thing while our opponent is stuck on red. They are red-green as their deck, as their colors. Add or cap our blessed Hippogriff here, maybe? I would hope not. They're looking at our cards, maybe a red removal spell. Oh, Circle of the Land Druid is the play. They get to mill 4 and pick up a land from their grave when that dies. There are no lands in their grave yet, though. A rogue and a Hippogriff on board. Our opponent has a druid, which, weirdly enough, not part of the party. Wrathful Red Dragon. I can wrath the board down to just a Horde Robber, or I can just Minimus Containment that. I'm just gonna Minimus Containment that, so I can just keep jamming. Now we have a Meteor Golem at the ready because of our treasure tokens. We can more than afford this for their next threat. Just keep doing the Horde Robber Hippogriff attacks. Emerald Dragon. Yeah, I like Meteor Golem on that. Now we have a Lulu as our post-Wrath card, if we need to pop a Wrath. Opponent's down to 10 now. Still got all kinds of money. Unexpected allies on the Circle of the Land Druid, so they'll get another one into their hand. Fine by me, we will not block. We are down to 15. They're going to play a giant Fire Beetles instead. We have a Black Dragon to kill that immediately. Feels pretty worth it to me. The triple Horde Robber's really just being like MVP in this deck. There's a Fireball to kill that Black Dragon, but we can still attack with Hippogriff and Meteor Golem in the sky. And they failed the D20 roll, so they are down to 2 life. So they scoop them up. That's going to be 3-1 now. Here we go now, round 5, on the play with turn 2 Horde Robber. Don't mind if I do. That's our best friend right there. Opponent is on green. Hopefully no 2-drop, none of the 2-mana 0/2 taps for a green card. They have a particularly good 2-drop, we could Sewer Plague it. Null Hunter isn't particularly good, but I'm also greedy. So I'm gonna shoot it anyway. Full greed with the Horde Robber today. Our hand is all removal and a Wrath. Underseller Myconid. Alright, I guess one treasure it'll be. That does mean next turn I get to play Pegasus Guardian and get a 1/1 flyer off of it immediately, because we're paying for it with a treasure. Guild Swarm Prowler. And Sepulchre Ghoul. Okay. Things are coming out so quickly from our opponent, I'm starting to get pretty tempted to just kind of lean into Blood Money here and try to make it to 7 mana. We currently have 6. We need to draw 1 land or get 1 treasure token. Pegasus Guardian still does feel really good on this board. We get a 3/3 flyer and a 1/1 flyer. The 1/1 can block their 2/1. The 3/3 can start threatening them. Really don't like spending this treasure right now, though. Guess I just pass, hold up, rescue the full. If the plan is to get all in on blood money. Attack with just Guild Swarm Prowler. I can just take that. Owlbear Shepherd. It's going to draw them an extra card each turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not quite. Not unless they play another creature this turn. Okay, cool. Don't hit the land we need. I could turn our Horde Robber into a treasure token. Minimus Containment our own Horde Robber. Doesn't feel like the play. Maybe it is. I mean, we attack with it here. They block with Sepulchre Ghoul and a 1/4. I guess they just kill it without losing a creature. Don't feel like we attack with it. Although I could rescue the full if it goes poorly. Alright, they're just gonna bounce. Another land from our opponents. Try to rescue the full. Block their 1/1 with a 1/3. Worst case scenario, we get them to use a removal spell here, which isn't that big of a deal. If they kill Pegasus Guardian and Horde Robber, it's just slightly sad. Okay, take 6. Oh my god, land, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Power on their board. I hate this, but I feel like I have to just drop Pegasus Guardian now. I guess I could play Soldiers instead. Doesn't really do anything, but it does block a little bit. We're just blocking. At this point, draw your card. Intellect Devourer. Wow, that's disgusting. How all in am I on hitting a land next turn? So I could give them Eyes of the Beholder, and then you know, they can't afford it, and if I hit the land next turn, I blood money and I just get it right back. Alright, another Underseller Myconid. Land, come on, please. Okay. Problem is, Owlbear Shepherd got to go off because it took us astronomically a long time to get this last land. So Owlbear Shepherd really fueled them up here. Take 2. Yep, they've still got a Drider to play post-Wrath. Can afford to Minimus Containment that. And play a Pegasus Guardian without spending too many treasures. We get a 1/1 here as well. Could have afforded Eyes of the Beholder as well, but that would have spent every treasure we had to do both. Oh my god, Servok is nasty. Absolutely nasty. They have the Menace version. In green, they have the Trample version. Oh my god, yeah, that's unbeatable. That's 9 trample damage here. Go to 2, and then we shoot Servok, and then we die to a vampire spawn. If I don't want to die to vampire spawn, I have to lose Pegasus Guardian. Pegasus Guardian takes over this game if they don't have vampire spawn. I think I have to just accept defeat to a vampire spawn. If we draw our own vampire spawn, we're all good. We're all gravy. Can't kill me with vampire spawn if I have vampire spawn first. What a draw. That is actually incredible. Oh, great. Summon undead. Well, we're still dead. Man, that feels like a pre-sideboarded deck. Servok is just so good after a Wrath. It's not a winnable matchup for us. Brutal. Even if we hadn't taken all that early damage, Servok any point in the game with reanimate effects like Summon Undead, they have 2 in their sealed pool minimum. Yeah. Not really a matchup the deck that's all about putting every creature in our opponent's deck into the grave can win. Unfortunate. 3-2 it is. Here we are, round 6 on the play. Very keepable hand, makes us look like the aggro deck. No true drop, but other than that, really good looking stuff here. Steadfast Unicorn into Vampire Spawn with Sewer Plague as removal and Black Dragon for late game. Our opponent on a large deck here, 50 something? 55? Could be one of the self-mill reanimator kind of decks if they have like a ton of summon undeads or something and don't want to mill out. Alright, Steadfast Unicorn, turn 1, pass the turn. Hit for 1 and pass. They are on black, so they probably do have some self-mill. Looks like black-red. Just gonna pass the turn again. Here's our turn 3 vampire spawn. Drain our opponent for 2 life. Ghost Lantern from our opponent. An equipment. Whenever creatures they control die, the equipped creature gets a +1/+1 counter. But they are stuck on 2 mana here. Put them down to 13, drop a Soldiers of the Watch and pass the turn. They are Jund, green, black, and red. They pass the turn to us, and they just scoop them up, just stuck on mana a little too long against a relatively aggressive start from our deck. That'll be 4-2 now. Positive record, no matter what. Opponent on the play this time around, we have Soldiers of the Watch, Blessed Hippogriff, Black Dragon, and 4 mana. 3 swamps, 1 plains. Seems good to me. We've got both colors, but turn 1 Cobalt Warcaller could put a quick end to to this sealed run. Kobold Warcaller, the most aggressive turn 1 play in the format, gives everything in your hand haste for the rest of the game. Allows you to double team super quickly, as well as just pile out your creatures very aggressively. Got our turn 2 Soldiers of the Watch. At least our opponent did not get to play a 2-drop because they had Gate to Mannerborn come to play tapped. They are on red, green, and blue. Mephit's Enthusiasm will blow up our double teaming Soldiers of the Watch. Still no second creature from our opponent, just taking 1 a turn from this Warcaller. I could Minimus Containment the Warcaller so they can't give things haste, but it's also a little counterintuitive because we are giving them a treasure, which lets them just play their bigger creatures a turn earlier anyway. Don't feel like it's worth the Minimus Containment here. They pass to our turn. I'm going to just hard cast a Blessed Hippogriff. Might draw removal from them, or it may be big enough to just block this Warcaller for now. They are going to Dragon's Fire it. It is pulling removal out of their deck. Warcaller's hitting us again. Opponent stuck on 3 mana. Do they have any plays? No, no plays. Weirdly enough, we have 5 mana, but we're basically stuck on mana. We do have a high curve deck. We're hoping our triple Horde Robber helps us out with stuff like that, but they're not here today. We do need to hit a land to be able to play anything. I guess I could Sewer Plague the Warcaller, but I'd rather kill the bigger cards than the Warcaller itself. If I Sewer Plague that now, it'll die by the time it's their turn, so that's what I'm going to do. And we drew into the land for Asterion. Beautiful. And now we're 1 mana away from our double black dragon. Alright, and Water Weird has died to the Sewer Plague. Kobold Warcaller giving a creature in hand haste, and dropping down a Pseudo Dragon Familiar in the sky. Not going to attack in with it though. I'll attack in with Asterion here. If they chump block, we'll just gain 8 life this turn, and if they don't chump, we will deal 8 damage to them. Now we get to drop a Lulu. Give one of our black dragons double flying. I guess it only works when we cast spells that don't have flying, so we don't have to worry about redundancy there. Lulu's Boon will wait until we have a non-flyer, so that's nice. Alright, Farida's Fireball on Asterion. I'm going to shoot him down and deal 2 damage to us. And there's the land for the black dragons. We're just going to start slamming down black dragons every turn. And hopefully still have a firm lead on this game. Get rid of that flyer. Earth Cult Elemental, that is far too big to die to a black dragon. And I have to sacrifice a permanent here, which means I'll sack a land, so probably won't be able to afford black dragon anyway, but I can Minimus Containment that Earth Cult Elemental, which is the plan. Opponent down to 6, and we'll pass turn. Saving Minimus Containment and Black Dragon in hand rather than flipping Lulu. Next turn we might flip Lulu. If we don't hit a land, I will flip Lulu next turn, because that's lethal on board. Turns 5 damage into 6 damage. Actually, even more if we discard a black card. Alright, they're going to seek a card, which means they're tapped out. We do hit the mana to play Black Dragon, but it's probably better to just flip Lulu, because that's lethal on board. So we will hit for lethal, and that is going to be 5 and 2 now from this sealed deck. And we're on the play with 2 Soldiers of the Watch in hand and a Horde Robber. Quite the start. See what comes from it here. Tiefling Outcasts, turn 1, and I thought I had a start. Let's drop a 1/3 blocker against those Outcasts, so it'll be hard for them to double team them well. But yeah, that's both of them would mean they're both 2/1s, and any other Devils, Imps, and Tieflings in hand would be even bigger. This is a snap block here. Do not want them to be able to have both on the board. You come to the Knoll camp, it is... That will kill our Horde Robber. Now we get to drop Soldiers of the Watch to trade into those things. Not gonna Minimus Containment the 1-drop. If I don't have to. They are gonna Minimus Containment our Soldiers of the Watch and just get in for 1 there. Let's drop another one, holding up Tyr's Blessing from Blessed Hippogriff to be able to give it indestructible. I won't save it from another Minimus Containment if our opponent has another Minimus Containment. There's a Lulu, which means their second Tiefling Outcasts comes out in the sky. Guarantees to just be hitting in there for 2 a turn. Pretty powerful. And now they just never attack with their grounded one. And Soldiers of the Watch... Oh, they still attack with it, okay. Well, I'm super happy with that. I was going to say, and Soldiers of the Watch can't attack into the 1/3 very well, but that's okay if we get to kill one of those. Tempted to Minimus Containment their Lulu here. Think that's where I'm at. Minimus Containment Lulu, we get to attack with Soldiers and get another one to hand. Although I'm probably holding on to this treasure token rather than casting the Soldiers I've put in my hand. Because this treasure helps me hit this black dragon earlier. Our opponent has 6 mana available thanks to the treasure we just gave them. If they have an Earth Cult Elemental or something like that. Unexpected allies, giving Tiefling Outcasts double team again so they can make sure they are still getting their +1/+0 on the Tieflings. Goblin Trap Finder as well, another cheap little card there. We have hit a land. We are only 1 mana away from Black Dragon now. Probably hold off on blocks here, trade into that Outcasts. Now we play Hippogriff. I guess Hippogriff holds off the Outcasts too. We can attack in, pop the Trap Finder, see what they get. Whatever they get off of the Trap Finder has to be sacrificed the turn after they play it. Or the end step of the turn that they play it. Be any creature though? Yeah, it could be any creature with mana value 3 or less. Okay, so it's a small creature. Humiliate my Hippogriff, put that onto the ground, and then drop a Hobgoblin Captain. I have a weird sequencing there, but I'm a pretty big fan of it. Because Humiliation could have just killed our bird if they played it after the Captain. So that way we got to trade for their Humiliation and one of their creatures that turn. So that was pretty good for us all around. And now we have the Black Dragon mana. Get rid of their flyer. We're only having to worry about a 2/2 on the ground. Could also get rid of the 2/2 on the ground, only have to deal with the flyer. I think I'd rather deal with a 2/2 on the ground than a 1/1 in the sky, because the 1/1 in the sky also has more relevant abilities. The Barbarian can sacrifice itself to get double red, but not really going to matter when they have 6 mana already. Ooh, Steadfast Unicorn is not a bad draw at all. Actually pretty interested in just doing that right now instead of soldiers. So we can get vigilant attacks off with the Black Dragon. Make sure we have the nice big blocker up at all times. Another land from our opponent. We drop soldiers and unicorn again. Horde Robber's probably better than soldiers, because it gets value when it hits our opponent. So we'll play that. And that's going to be the concession from our opponent. That'll be 6-2 now, I believe. Just one victory away from a 7-win run, and we're now guaranteed to break even in gems and just keep all of the cards for free. And we got a Creepy Puppeteer reward. Yep, 2,000 gems back out of this event, guaranteed to break even. Pretty happy with this run here. Whatever happens in the last game is cool with me. Although I guess if this is Arena Open practice, if we're treating it like the Arena Open, then we need to try really, really hard to win this last game, because that would be the game that decides whether or not we day 2 the event. Alright, opponents on the play. We have a Wrath to work our way towards and a removal spell to try to save us until then. Unicorn to probably just die to their first removal spell. Definitely gonna keep the hand. It's very good mana-wise, we just need to make it to Blood Money. Need to make it to 7 mana. Opponent starts with a Plains. We've got double Blood Money in hand. I was gonna say the one moderate downer of this sealed event so far is we have 3 Wraths in the deck. We've never gotten to cast more than 1 in one game. But now we've got a shot. With double Blood Money. Opponent is on red, black, and white. Prophetic Prism Lantern revealing this is not the kind of matchup we were hoping for. With a deck full of Wraths, we would like a deck that's just trying to dump a bunch of creatures out. But our opponent looks like they have a lot of setup turns of just getting all of their mana of whatever colors they need. And they're just going to drop a bunch of individually big ones instead of putting a ton on the board at once. So a little worried here. Raphael, Fiendish Savior. That will get sewer plagued right now. Can't really wait till 7 mana to kill that bomb rare. Gonna get a chump block out of it here. Sure are. And we'll drop Minthara. Pass the turn. We have 5 out of the 7 mana for Blood Money drawn so far. And an Underseller Myconid from our opponent. An annoying blocker. 1/2 and a 1/1. Guess we attack with Minthara and clear one of those things out. Or just hit for 2. We drop the Hippogriff or the soldiers. A little greedy to just drop soldiers, but I really want to get Tears Blessing value here. I think I have a really good target if they draw into removal. Tears Blessing does not work against Patriarch's Humiliation though, so if that is the removal they're planning on using, it'll be bad for us. Ooh, Icewind Stalwart. That is quite good with the Myconid. Get another Saproling. Alright, let's get our Soldiers of the Watch attack in here. Get the duplicate in our hand. Chump block there. No, double block there. We will go ahead and do the indestructible then. Kill both saplings, don't lose a creature, pass turn. Our opponent is looking 5-color, green, black, red, and white. Haven't seen any blue cards from them yet, but a lot of colors for sure. Horn of Valhalla. Get a million 1/1s on this board, really clutter it up to help survive. I really like Deadly Dispute here, because it's going to be hard to break through all that stuff. This is going to up Minthara's intensity and give us treasures to get towards Blood Money. Won't give us 1 treasure. And draw us 2 cards. There's a Stick Together. 2 for up 6. We have the 7 mana for next turn. Stick Together lets us keep a Cleric and a Rogue, and Minthara is a Cleric. But it would let them keep a Warrior. Definitely not going to stick together right now. I'm going to play Soldiers of the Watch. I'm going to attack with a big Minthara, buffing with Unicorn. I think I just pass. It obviously does look pretty suspicious. But I think we're just on Blood Money next turn. Horn of Valhalla. Have to chump block with our Unicorn here, I guess. We can up Minthara's intensity. We might be on Stick Together, actually. So they're left with a 3/3, we're left with a 4/4. Alright, Minimus Containment, then it's Blood Money. We just kill everything. Boop! Money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I only get 2. There were only 2 non-token creatures? That's hilarious. Forgot Blood Money only gives you treasure for non-token creatures that died. Baba Lysaga Night Witch. Equip the Horn to the Saproling, hit us for 3 now. That's a Human Warlock, that's a Saproling. I can put a Rogue on this board and still stick together. Want to stick together to kill 2 things, or do I want to just... Containment. I just want a Containment here. I definitely like playing Horde Robber. Because we know the Stick Together, we can cast that later and still have a card on board. I'm playing the Soldiers of the Watch because we don't lose much having that on board. And we gain the ability to start hitting for 2 if they don't play another creature. So if they don't play a creature, we're smacking at them. If they do play a creature, we will be considering one of our 2nd or 3rd Wrath effects. Grim Bounty blow up our Soldiers of the Watch here, and they get a treasure token on their board. So now we don't have any good attacks. I guess we're going to have to play this Blessed Hippogriff so we can threaten to start attacking. But I am not going to Wrath a single Saproling token. Sewer Plague on Hippogriff, alright. Removal for all of our creatures here. There's a Guild Swarm Prowler. Stick together will not kill that. And they will draw a card off of it when it dies. There's a Meteor Golem. Meteor Golem to blow up the horn seems really good here, and I'm just going to go for it. Send in the Horde Robber. Get a damage, get a treasure. Pass the turn. Sorry about the arena audio bugs. I can't really control that. It's really weird. The music keeps coming in and out. The regular audio is just not happening. Send in the Guild Swarm Prowler. Take 2. Down to 12. And they've got Sea Tower Imprisonment on Meteor Golem. The 2-for-1 removal spell that turns into a 3-for-1 if that Soldiers of the Watch hits me. That's nasty. It may be blood money time. They do draw a card off Guild Swarm Prowler though, that's not ideal. And I'm just gonna blood money. They draw another card here. With 29 cards left. Oh, they're playing like a 50 card deck too. Their amount of 2-for-1s and stuff has been really nasty. They have a Dawnbringer Cleric to blow up Minimus Containment in the main deck. Baba Saga's at the ready with 3 cards to sacrifice. And Underseller Myconid right afterward. So very well maybe a loss here. Baba Saga just goes nuts. They draw 3 cards, have us lose 3 life, and they gain 3 life. Yeah, they've got plenty artifacts. They sack the Sapperling and stuff here. Alright. They use Baba Lysaga in response. Yep, we lose 3, they gain 3, and draw 3 cards. It just puts us miles behind in terms of card advantage, in terms of card draw. My initial assessment in the early couple turns that this would be a pretty bad matchup was very accurate. Our opponent is going for just a bunch of late game 2 and 3-for-1s that it doesn't really matter how many times we wrath. Like, yeah, wrathing a black dragon, it's already gone value. Not a good matchup, and we are very dead. We did get to play every single wrath in our deck this round though, so that was cool. We are dead on board if they attack with everybody. We're mega dead now that they have Steadfast Unicorn. And that will be 6 and 3 to end off this sealed event. Pretty great record, and I'm pretty happy with that one. We played kind of a goofy deck. The triple wrath kind of just pile over here, so happy with the record overall. We got all our gems back. All of that good stuff. Got some more experience with the format. Got to see some more decks before the Arena Open this weekend. Not too unhappy about it. Not trying to get too massively competitive. So, yeah, pretty good stuff overall. Obviously, our curve is pretty high, but triple Horde Robber were MVPs for that reason. Maybe we should have played like an 18th land, potentially. Maybe not. We didn't get stuck too massively hard on mana too often. It did happen once or twice. Yeah, overall, probably the best color pair in the sealed pool. We probably are supposed to try to play at least a few of the Wraths. And, Could have went for like a more aggressive like black-red deck, might have been pretty good with giant fire beetles. Valor Singer and the red burn, the cheap red removal like Dragon's Fire and Mephit's Enthusiasm. Or we could have went for some weird green-white-black value pile with the rest still in the deck. I think red was our best color we're not playing. But pretty happy with how the deck we built went overall. And that is going to end today's video. We've got some great stuff on the horizon. Crimson Vow drafts are starting again on Friday, but I probably won't be doing videos of those until after the Arena Open this weekend. Probably just do a little bit more Baldur's Gate traditional draft practice, and then we'll have the Arena Open on Saturday and Sunday if I day 2. If I don't day 2, then it'll just be the Saturday day 1 event. So big competitive Magic stuff this weekend, and then next week and onwards we have the rotating standard draft formats that I'm really excited to hop back into: Innistrad Crimson Vow, and then Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and then Streets of New Capenna, and then cube drafts at the end of next month. So that's everything on the horizons. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.